Well, hello and welcome to Seeing Spots Backstage Pass. Today it's that time that we get together and get a little stamping on. We have several things to do today. Got some prettiness ahead for you and a cool technique that I think you might enjoy. And I've got two people on. Go ahead and give a shout out, say hello so I know who's on. It didn't show me. Okay, Kat is here, cool, and I'm seeing a comment. So that gives me hope that we're gonna see comments today at the beginning rather than the last hour. So, okay, hello Kat, and let's officially begin with good Thursday morning and welcome backstage for today's pickup stamp class. Some of you have asked, what is a pickup class? Well, pickup classes are very popular in the dance community, and I'm sure in other art communities, but you know, in between your classes, your official classes, you go and find another one. So that's what this is. This is our pickup class. So it's in between Use It Up and technique time. So glad to have you all here. All right, update on the puppies. Or puppy on Han Solo. First off, he's weak, but I have been hand feeding him. I should show you his little bottles. They're actually a teeny tiny 3 milliliter or cc syringe with a teeny tiny little nipple on it, and he's getting stronger. He's now at least treading, and he treads in midair. It's kind of crazy, but so hopefully he gets stronger and stronger. Mama is now finally eating herself. So that's a good thing. So I hope we are on the mend. All right. So let's do a little bit of business and then hit it hard and do what we're here for, and that is stamping. So here comes the most awkward moment of the class, and that is when I give you the hand, so that I can give a twist to my phone here, to the phone stand. Let's see, let's get rid of that shadow the best we can, but I still get some downlight. Let me try taking this light out. We'll see. It's a little gray today, but not too horribly bad. But I have my glass mat out today for one of our techniques that we're going to do. So, hello, Julie. Hello, Lori and Kat. I'm trying to see. And Karen. Karen, welcome and glad that you are here as well today. Okay, so the business for today. Let's see. Let's get on with the business. Let's see here. Well, first off, here's today's class, Lifetime of Love. We will talk more about that throughout the class. Second bit of business for those who are customers here and are thinking about getting a really, really great deal. There is a starter kit special this month only. So the starter kit, when you sign up for Stampin' Up, is $99, but you get to pick $125. This month, you get to pick $125 of what you want, plus they're sending the 5 in-color ink pads, a pack of the in-color cardstock, a pack of the in-color DSP, and a pack of the in-color markers, an $82 value. This is super, super awesome. I also, starting with this catalog year, will be sending my downline the PDF for each month's class, and I will send you the PDF of our stamp camps that I have throughout the year. So, and those stamp camps are in a different group. They are not here. They're in a separate private group. Each camp is in its own group. So that's a great bit of fun to know about. Okay, so that is the starter kit. Next week is technique time for this month. My favorite class of the month is technique time. It's the big granddaddy, the big the big hoo-ha, the big daddy, whatever you want to call it. Sorry. Anyhow, this will be next week right here, 10 o'clock. And then I'll also have on Friday night a Zoom recap where we can ask questions, we can chat, verify certain things like how did you do that? Can you show that again? I will do that there. Plus it's fun to just get together and chat. Tomorrow is the last day to register for this. I only have 2 kits left. 2 kits left for this very fabulous class. I'm going to give you a real quick sneak peek. We have a very large fancy fold card, a fancy fold, another fancy but easy fold. And by the way, this is a really easy fancy fold too. And I'm trying to think where the other 2 cards are. There are 2 more cards for this class, but I'm not exactly sure where I put them. I will be using the layering leaves and the coordinating bow punch. All right. You do not need to have these. You can use any greetings you have and any leaves you have. You will be absolutely set up to have a good time. The week after that, we will be upstyling our paper pumpkin kits. This will be in my Seeing Ink Spots Facebook page. So not here in the group. This will be in my business page. And it's going to be fun. This is really a beautiful kit, you guys. So, and yes, I've seen it. We should be getting ours pretty soon. All right. Country Woods. You guys asked for it. It is coming. This will be Studio Ink Spots. This will be my camp. So there's not going to be a technique time for the month of June. Instead, we will be having a Studio Ink Spots, which is my title for my stamp camp. And there's a lot of fun happening here. There are 4 stamp sessions. There are 4 presentations, a game night, which is going to be a party night. I'm going to mix it up a little bit. Lots of Stampin' challenges, a garage sale, swap and shares, virtual swap and shares, that is. It's going to be really, really fun. We're going to focus on the Country Flowers stamp set and dies, as well as the Country Birdhouse stamp set. And it is going to be a great time. So details for that are posted on my blog. But I'm going to start, now that this next class is coming, I can start giving just a little bit more focus to that Country Woods camp. All right, today's class, Lifetime of Love. And this is a stamp set that, I don't know, maybe you've seen. It first made its appearance here in the January to April catalog here. I'm just pulling one out. So this is the January to April mini catalog that just finished. But on pages 14 and 15, you're going to see the Forever Love Sweet Collection. The Lifetime of Love is the bundle. So I'm not looking at the Sweet Collection. I'm just taking a look at the stamp set and dies. Jen says, happy to catch you live rather than on a replay. Oh, yes, that's very cool. That is right. So hello, Jen. Hello, Barbara Campbell and Lori. So awesome to have everybody here. So now this, going back to the Forever Love Suite collection, this is a beautiful suite. It's now, these are no longer available, but the bundle is. And so the bundle has made an encore in the new Stampin' Up! Catalog. All right, so it's in this catalog. But why am I turning to Unbounded Beauty? I'm turning to Unbounded Beauty because I'm taking this paper and even the glimmer paper here, and this is my inspiration for today's class. I specifically kind of wanted to do a Pretty in Pink, Peach Pie, Flirty Flamingo. I kind of wanted to do a rainbow sherbet approach to my color choice for today. So I thought, all right, so if I kind of want to go there, I'm getting a little bit of help from this on one of my cards today. So if you have this Unbounded Beauty DSP, it is really, really pretty. It does include the new in colors, and they've added Berry Burst to it, which gives it kind of it just elevates it. It gives it a little bit more pop. I like that it just injects a little bit of flavor, a little bit of spice in a way of a berry burst. It bursts the color palette. All right, so that's what I'm going to be working with today, if you're wondering. So here is the stamp set, and I do have the dies. Here are all the dies. So there are the stamps. Let's just kind of go through these real quick. Here's a couple key pieces that are so cool. You have, and I'll just flip them over so you can see the backside of the detail of them. So you have these cool frames that you can cut that have been adorned with leaves or a nice big floral spray in the corner. So you'll see those in action. There are open dies that match the stamps. Okay. Whoops, got to turn this one just a little bit. Nope, that's this one. She's losing it, folks. And it's only a few minutes in. That's really scary. So you can see there are open dies, and I will be using these open dies today. For sure, for sure. And then there are some detailed dies in here as well. There's some flower stems, leaf, another sprig of leaves, and then you've got a little trio of flowers there. So there's fun stuff in this stamp set and die set. There's an online bundle right now in the online exclusives, Encircled in Love, and that's a very similar stamp set and set of dies to this one. Instead of flowers, it focuses more on trees. And I like this one. I bought this one before we saw that one, but I really do like that Encircled in Love. In fact, I said to Kayleen, she's like, I have some extra host dollars here I want to redeem. What should I get? And I said, Encircled in Love. And so anyhow, I think both are very fabulous. If you have either one, I think, it's going to be great for today's class. All right, let's begin. So let me just grab my stack of papers here. Let's see what we've got going. Okay, so my first card, I'm going to, let's see, start with Petal Pink. I would say Petal Pink is probably my number one color that I use. I go through more Petal Pink than anything. So I have a Petal Pink card base. It's, you can see, 8.5 by 5.5. And I've already pre-scored it at 4 1/4. So I'll just give that a good burnish. So far, so good. I have another quarter sheet of Petal Pink, and I've pre-embossed this. Look at this new design here. So this new embossing folder, it is a 3D folder. Here it is. So you can see it's 3D, okay? It's called Dashing Designs. It's a 3D folder, like I said. You'll find this in the new annual catalog. This is part of the Wildly Flowering Sweet Collection. But I think, what's really cool are you've got dots, you've got squares, you've got diamonds, you've got dashes, you've got perforations in both directions. It's just really kind of a cool quilted look, but it's updated, it's fresh, it's current. So, and then what's cool is that it is on the diagonal, but if you wanted a smaller piece, you could easily square it up. You could also kind of chop some of these pieces apart and have some cool fun with that as well. So be looking at that one if you're looking for a new embossing folder, Dashing Designs. So I've done that, like I said, ahead of time, just so you don't need to see me do that. And I'm going to add that to my back here. Okay, so speaking of ahead of time, you would think that I would remember. Some days I do, most of the days I don't. And that is to do the unclog. Look, it's even cool on this side, because this is the debossed side. They both look great. And yes, Jen, you do. So I really do like this folder, and I really do like the new eyelet folder as well. So now this is not, it's not a full quarter sheet, and it's not a 4 by 5 1/4. This is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So I have kind of a nice tight border on my, I just kind of like the way that looks. It just gives you, you see that there's an extra layer in there, but it just gives me a full coverage of that. Okay, so I said I would take a look at the Unbounded Beauty DSP, and I have used that. And so this is really cool DSP here, folks. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to kind of go through and show. I'll just give it kind of a quick flip through of some of these cool patterns here. But, so oftentimes we gravitate to the prints that are the prettiest to us. But I decided, while this one is cool, it's fun and funky. I mean, I kind of like this one and a couple others better. But this was my color palette that I was kind of envisioning in my mind. Can't you just taste rainbow sherbet right now? So, or maybe even, do you remember the old push-ups that we used to eat? That were in looked like a toilet paper roll, and you'd push them up. There was always a rainbow version of that, and that's always the one I picked. Okay, so I'm using this DSP. Take a look at that DSP in the catalog. I think you'll enjoy it. So this piece of DSP is 4 1/4 wide by 3 inches tall. And you know what, folks? I'm just going to add this to my card base here. So nothing tricky here. Just a fairly clean and simple layout. Okay, I'm just opening to make sure make sure my leaves are upright, because this paper does have a direction. And so you want to make sure your card is going to open in the right direction. Okay, so far so good, pretty easy. Pretty easy. I'm like, oh gosh, that glare on the glass just kills me. There's that. Hello, Marcia. Hello, hello. Okay, so that is my card base. I've got my elements glued together. Let's see. I have some pieces of white that I can stamp on. I've also already done some die cutting ahead of time, just so that you weren't sitting here waiting for me to do a whole bunch of die cuts. But let's do a little stamping first. This is just a scrap of white, and I'm going to stamp a couple of these floral images. So I've got this cool rose and leaf, and then we also have, these kind of look like Sweet William. I'm not quite sure. Where's Jolinda when we need her? All right, so I'm going to stamp these floral images, and I'm going to stamp with Melon Mambo. So now I'm not quite sure what the color is in here. I have a feeling it's Berry Burst, but maybe, mellowed out just a little bit. But I put Berry Burst and Melon Mambo with this, and I preferred the Melon Mambo. So just because Melon Mambo doesn't appear in the lineup of the colors, it's your card. You stamp it the colors that you want to stamp it, right? Okay, so because I'm going to be die cutting that, there's that. So each of these elements are going to get die cut, just like that. And I'll let those kind of, that ink dry for just a second, because I'm going to color in a different way. I'm going to color in kind of a quick and easy way. Let me grab a piece of scratch paper here. Could it be Calypso Coral? Julie, I think it's darker than Calypso Coral. So, plus Calypso Coral isn't listed in Unbounded Beauty. I really think that it's Berry Burst only cut, cut meaning the color's not as intense. Okay, so my easy coloring for this is simply going to be with a little bit of blending brush action. And I'm going to color with Peach Pie and Flirty Flamingo. Getting our rainbow sherbet on for today. All right, so here is Flirty Flamingo, and I'm just adding a little bit of ink to my blending brush. And I'm going to offload so that I don't get any really strong lines. And you know what? I'm not going to worry if I'm not staying in the lines, but I'm just coloring my leaves here. And I'm going to try and catch the leaves down in here. If I go outside the edges, it's all good. We're just adding a hint of color, okay? We're not going to do fully saturated colors on this. So close up Flirty Flamingo, and I'm going to go to Peach Pie. Peach Pie. Calypso Coral is listed on the back of this. You're kidding. On the back of Unbounded Beauty? Wow. I never knew. I was just reading the colors across the bottom in the catalog there. Julie, you've opened my mind. Okay, so I'm offloading. And now I'm just going to do a little swoosh in these flowers here. Okay. And I'll do a little bit in the roses. They're kind of going to hide. And you know what? I need one more flower. So, one more flower here. Right there. Kind of let that dry just a little bit. I'm like, dry a little bit more. Okay, so we'll blend that out. And I'll add a little bit of the Flirty Flamingo. But if you know me at all, if it is Calypso, I'm going to go to Flirty Flamingo before I'm going to go to Calypso. You know, I use a lot of Calypso, but it is not my favorite. Okay, so now we have some die cutting to do here. So let's see here. I'm going to use these open dies. So definitely there's this one ready to go. And here's one for this rose, this Sweet William, whatever it is. I'm not quite sure. And that one right there. So I'm going to tack these into place with some repositionable Post-it tape so that I can run all three through I have my mini Stampin' Cut and Boss machine here with me today. So I can run all three through at the same time. You know what? I am surprised I said that clearly. All three through. That's a good, warm-up. A good backstage warm-up. All three through. Vocal warm-ups for, acting. Just kidding. All right. Okay, so these are going through my mini Stampin' Cut and Boss machine, which is right here. Let's see. Let's kind of pop that in. Get the layers we need. Okay. And we'll crank this on through. A little tricky to get it going on a piece of... I love those crackling and popping kinds of sounds. Okay, so there's 3 of my flowers that I want. And I'm just going to remove that. And let's cut this one. We'll need it. Okay. Do you guys use a repositionable tape? Do you use Post-it notes? What do you like to do? Or do you just risk it and send it through? Do you have a magnetic sheet? How do you keep your pieces in line when you run them through your machine? Okay, I don't use my mini very often, but it does come in handy size-wise for class here. All right, so that is my die cutting for this card. Die cutting and, stamping, which I actually think we could kind of come up with something cool without even, without even bringing anything else into play here. But not bringing anything else into play? Are you kidding? We've got to bring lots more stuff in. So let me see what I have got going. So I have cut, this is from Flirty Flamingo. This is this larger frame here that I said has the floral spray. Now it could be, you can rotate this in any direction you want to go. I'm going to do it at the bottom for this card, the bottom right. So there it is in Flirty Flamingo. I've also cut another one in white. So here's one in white. I've also cut one in Melon Mambo because I couldn't decide if I wanted it in Melon Mambo or in Flirty Flamingo. Either one. Well, we've got both, so we'll see which one we're going to use. But I have the white one, not for the frame, but because I wanted the negative piece. And so I'm going to stamp my greeting on this negative piece here. All right, so it's that inside section. You're with me on that? And my greeting for this card is going to be wishing you a lifetime of happiness. And I'm going to use the Melon Mambo. Just a little here. And I'm going to put this towards the top. Wishing you a lifetime of happiness. Ooh, such a pretty, pretty font. Holy moly, is that pretty. Gorgeous. And with Peach Pie, I'm going to do just a little bit more stamping on this. And that is, I'm going to take this leaf stamp here, and I'm going to do just a little bit. Let me bring my scratch paper back in here. And I'm going to just a teeny tiny little bit, like right in here. And maybe just a little bit more, like right up in there. Okay? Just giving it a little bit of extra so that as other leaves and things kind of settle in that corner, I've got a little bit of stamp action happening. Okay, so I'm going to put this on, I'm going to put it on upside down on my paper. Let me kind of move that. And I'm going to put this on upside down. And I'm thinking I'm going to go with the Flirty Flamingo. Okay. Now I'm going to take my dimensionals, and my dimensionals are going to help me out because I'm going to catch without going into, but I'm trying to catch so that the frame, I'm catching the frame and the leaves, but I don't want it to show. And when I pick it up, you'll see what I mean. I'm sure you get what I mean. Anyways, I'm just trying to adhere these pieces together. At the same time, I'm, giving dimension to my card, if you know what I mean, Vern. Okay. Kat says she uses a magnetic plate. I used to use my magnetic plate all the time, and then I realized that's what was killing my plates. I was going through, because I was cutting for classes, I was going through so many plates, like a plate a month. It was craziness. So now you can see the negative fits in there, and it's going to hold together. Okay, so let's just build this pretty rainbow sherbet springtime card. We're kind of ending spring and coming into summer here rapidly. It's not blazing hot here yet, though, so we're still springy. Okay, and so now this, I'm just going to kind of set this right in the center or close to the center of the card. Okay, and now we're just going to have some fun adding things to the card. So my plan is that this is going to lay into here, and I'm actually going to cover my roses with, and I'm just going to kind of use these because I wanted to use a few different flowers, but I also, let's see, do I need that extra flower or not? I was just kind of building things up, trying to decide what to do, but I also wanted the leaves of the roses to show. you know, that we have a little bit of floral action happening. I like that, so maybe I don't need this one. And, okay, here's where it gets pretty. This, folks, is the peach pie. This is peach pie glimmer, and here's peach pie glimmer facing the other direction. So here's what I did. You know, this leaf, this branch of leaves goes to the one direction, right? And so I die cut this one as normal. When I die cut this one, I flipped the paper upside down and die cut it as if it were the back side, the white, so that I would have a leaf spray facing the other direction. But that's not it, folks. You know, when you have your die cuts, it kind of has a little bit of it curls the edges a little bit. What I did with this one is I ran it through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine with just a plate on top, and that kind of ironed it out just a little bit. So that's what I did, but I want to add a little bit of glimmer action in here, folks. I'm thinking my light needs to come on. Sorry, I'm gonna just jump over. We got clouds all of a sudden. So there's that, and we'll see how we're gonna lay this out in just a second here. I also have a few more die cuts ready to go for this one. I have, and I'm not sure if we're gonna go this strong or not. Ooh, I think we will, so long as we repeat some of that. Come in here with a little bit of Melon Mambo. And I'm going to push all of this up and inward just a little bit more so that some of our other stuff shows. Let me come this way. But the name of the game here is just have some fun layering a bunch of pieces in here. We'll do maybe one more of, I think I'll try and tuck this one down in low. Oh yeah, but maybe bring this one out and around. And then I have a bunch of Melon Mambo flowers cut as well that we can kind of tuck under and in and around and through, and we'll have some fun with those as well. Now, I've also done one more die cut, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use them or not, but with this frame here, the more circular one, I've die cut it, and I didn't even have a full sheet of white, but that was okay because I just basically wanted the leaves. So here are the leaves from this side. And so I'm just not sure if I want to add just a little bit more, and I can clean that up, obviously. So let me just flip this over. It's easier for me to come in at this angle. Okay, so I've just shaped that, and look at that lovely leaf stem that we have. And so if I'm gonna do a little bit of that just to kind of soften some of the colors. And I had one more of those. I did die cut the other side. Let me shape the leaf again for this side. Okay, so I really love reshaping dies. It's all about maximizing what you've got, right? And so I don't know if I want maybe another just kind of coming up, you know, and kind of following in there. I haven't, decided 100%, but let's go ahead and start. Now that I have, and you've seen the pieces that I want to work with, we'll see how many we keep and how many we say, remove the duck. Now, you're saying, remove the duck, what the heck is that? I don't know, some of you may have heard the remove the duck story, but when I used to work for Opera San Jose, we had a set designer. His name is Joe Raggi, and he and the director would go out into the house during Tech Week, and they'd say, okay, where's the duck? And they'd kind of look at the set, you know, scene by scene, and decide where the duck, in quotation marks, was. And if there was something that felt out of place or was too much, that was the duck, and they would remove the duck. And so when I say we've got to remove the duck, that's what I'm referring to, is the element that was just one too many things. What is not necessary? What's in the way? Okay, so there are my roses. And so maybe, just maybe, I mean, I like these, but maybe, just maybe, they are the duck that's in the way. Or do we like the way that this is adding to the composition here? So you let me know. Do you like them added or not? So should we keep them in the composition or not? Good morning, Terry. Okay, so now also in the composition works here, we have the glimmer, and maybe I'll tuck that under so it's not quite so like bam in your face. Bring that one under as well, something like that. Okay, so that was a design call to you guys. Keep the flowers as part of the composition, you know, on a few dimensionals there, or pull them away. I like both. I like both. Let me put some dimensionals on this, and then it might make a little bit more visual sense. Okay, the other thing we could do is bring a little, ooh, I'm kind of liking that too. Bring a little floral action up into this other corner, which would then allow me to do something soft right in through here, but I'm not sure that that's necessary. Okay, there and there. Pretty, pretty, pretty. So I haven't heard, so you guys let me know what you think. I do think I'm going to add my glimmer in here. By the way, this is the peach pie glimmer paper. And the glimmer paper, you're going to get the 5 colors. You're going to get Shy Shamrock. Oh, I just pushed my entire, well, I guess we're not going to use that glue. I just pushed the entire precision tip down into the bottle with my pin. So we're going to use this. Anyhow, the glimmer. So pretty in pink, Petunia Pop, Shy Shamrock, Summer Shadow, and Peach Pie. And they're so pretty. The Shy Shamrock is so electric. Barbara says, keep the flowers. Who doesn't love a floral accent? Okay. Thank you for your help. I'm like totally appreciative. Okay, so there's that little pop of peach pie. Okay, I'm going to add the flowers as per Jen and Barbara. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Come in there. It gives us we're building up some dimension, which is kind of fun. And maybe we'll tuck this one. Well, I think we'll tuck this one that way. Okay. And let's just kind of continue to build a little bit more color in here. I think, so this one I've kind of got a bent leaf. I'm gonna chop that one up, and I'm gonna put this one, give it a little bit of a curl, and I'm gonna tuck this one underneath inside the frame here. Maybe right in there. Okay, I didn't glue this one. So what do you guys think of glimmer? Is it too much, or are you kind of liking glimmer papers? I like them because they're very, very glittery, but they don't shed at all. So there's that touch of the glimmer there. In the camera right now, it's really coming off as being sort of very gold, but it's not. It's peachy, I promise. It's peachy. Has a nice peach color to it. Okay. All right. A little pink there, a little melon mambo. Now let's bring a little bit of that melon mambo up this direction. like so. I think I'm going to bring it this way a little bit so as I don't eke out into the border too much. So my house right now is so hot. I mean, it's warm outside and I've got the heat on. And that's for that tiny little puppy. But man, is it hot in here. I'm all of a sudden going, oh, I'm so warm. Okay, so now for this, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it or not. I do kind of like the way the white comes in here, but I think this might be the duck for this card. So I'm going to remove the duck, put it away. I am going to bring in some of these Melon Mambo flowers just to repeat, because this is some really intense color here, and I maybe want to just repeat some of that. But you know me, I like to give these little flowers a little bit of life, give them a little bit of, you know, make them a little interesting. And that is to take them in my hand, and I'm just going to curl them just like you saw. So let's just take some of these. And there's 3 little flowers on that die, and each flower is a little bit different. It's kind of fun. And so I'm just going to kind of sprinkle these around just to even up the balance of this intense Melon Mambo color here. So maybe bring that one down in, or maybe over in here somewhere. We'll just kind of see where we want to put them. You want to put some butterflies on this card. I don't have any teeny tiny ones, but that would be good. You want white on your card. Ah, okay. Well, I could maybe trim some of that down so it's not quite so big. Now, this particular flower is kind of cut off on the side, and I like using it to kind of tuck in like so. Here's another. And I have several, I have like 3 more of these flowers somewhere. So we'll just kind of, you know, as we finish things, what we want to do. But I think the name of the game is to kind of tuck and hide some of these so that they're integrated into the focal. Okay, Jolinda said she wanted some white. So what if we trim some of this down? And the white does add a nice relief. If we just even kind of come up, oh yeah, okay, yeah. I'm feeling it now, Jolinda. It's just, it was too big the way it was. I just needed to kind of tone it down just a little bit. Except that's not where I want it to go. Oh, that's where it's gonna go. That's where it kind of stuck. Now, I can see my stem right there. So to me, that's the perfect place to go. Okay, we're going to do a flower right there to hide those mechanics. And so I'm just going to go right in there. And this is what I'm saying. As you start to build cards like this, you know, that's where I needed to hide my mechanics. But at the same time, as it goes down and it's not like quite so up on top, then it starts to feel like, oh, these flowers are meant to be there just like that. Because sometimes they feel a little fish out of water. So let's see here. Let's get a good leaf. I think I'm going to trim right down here like this. Trim that just a little bit more so it looks a little more organic than just a cut off leaf. That's better. And maybe get a little bit more of this white action. Kind of calling out a little bit right there, and maybe just a tiny little bit of it. I'm just gonna pop that off. A little bit of it right over in here so that we kind of bring that color. I need it swooping the other direction. Maybe if I just turn it over. So this is one of those things where the leaf is facing the wrong direction, but it's, you know, when it goes through the die cutting machine, it kind of leaves those rounded scars. But I'm just going to kind of flatten them out with my fingernail here. Or I could run it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. But here we go. We're going to glue this in. And I'm just going to kind of maybe go under. So just pulling a little bit of that white in and around. Great suggestion, suggestion, Jolinda. Let me add another little flower. And I'm going to add this one, kind of tuck it right under in there. Grab my bone folder. And I think I'm just going to add just a few more of these Melon Mambo flowers. Looks like I just got glue all over my glimmer. Wipe that off. Because we don't want that. Maybe just, maybe. Let me see. Let me see here. If we need to, just tuck a little white. Nope, I think I can get it with some flowers. This bottom edge was feeling a little naked to me. But just a little floral work in here. I'm going to pull this flower on top. And just kind of giving it the squint test. Where does it need another little something? Maybe there. And maybe one last one right up in there. And I think for all my stuff, that's going to be the way I'm going to leave it. Not finished yet. I'm getting close. Just tuck this one in here. Oh, Deanna. So Deanna is popping on. Deanna Cave. So, you guys, this is a wild and crazy story. But I went to a demonstrators get-together on Monday night here in Boise. And I walked into the room, and Deanna Cave is sitting in the back of the room. Now, you're probably going, who's Deanna Cave? Deanna Cave is a friend of mine. We've served together in church in San Jose. So it was just kind of wild to see a San Jose friend here in Boise. But Deanna lives in Boise, and she is a just joined Stampin' Up. She came over as one of the awesome, close to my heart makers. So it was just fun to see her and have her there the other night and to reconnect, but to reconnect with a San Jose friend, if you know what I mean. So welcome, Deanna. And so I'm like, well, Deanna. And so I immediately invited her to my backstage pass here just for some fun to reconnect. Okay, so I'm not quite done. You know it. She is in the house. That is, Wink is here. And I'm going to finish with a little wink of Stella and some of the 2024-26 in color gems. Look how pretty. Let me put a piece of white behind these. So we have Peach Parfait, Shamrock, Summer Splash, pretty in pink, and then the Petunia Pop. And so let's just kind of look for a color that I'm just going to soften these flowers here and give them a little bit more sensibility as to them being flowers and not just a kind of a blob of, because it's kind of a strong color of just that Melon Mambo in and against some of these other colors. It's a pretty daring color combination. I never glued this one on. Hello. I'm going to do it over here a little bit more. Okay. So there's that. Let me give this just a couple seconds to kind of connect and really kind of set. Let's do a couple more of these. So like that one does show. So I'm just going to kind of lift that and tuck that inside there. Oh, maybe not. It's like, come on, don't you want to be part of the party? You love the touch of white. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you pushed me that way, Jolinda. Olive. Hello, Olive. It's good to have you jumping on with me today, even if it's for just a few minutes. Always awesome to have Olive here. Okay, so there are my florals. Let me kind of prime this, see how she is nice and juicy and beautiful. So I'm just going to do that Stella splatter that you know I am kind of crazy about. And I'm also going to hit my flowers just to zhuzh them. Even these that are just to differentiate the flower from the foliage. So I'm not going to paint the Melon Mambo leaves, die-cut leaves, just the flowers. Okay? Just a little added shimmer, like Who doesn't want a little more shimmer in their life? All right, so I do have this was a scrap on my desk. It is a piece of the Calypso Coral Baker's Twine from the Baker's Twine combo pack. And so let's see if we need a little touch of twine. I do have some linen thread here with me today. So sometimes it's a yes and sometimes it's a no, and sometimes it's just kind of nice to add in a little bit of bow action. And sometimes it's just not necessary. And sometimes it's the duck and we remove it. So it's like, you know, I kind of like it up in there, kind of balancing that corner. I think I'm going to do that. Like I say, it could be the duck and it might need to go. Joe Ragey, that was his name. He did cool stuff. Okay. So I've just added some a blob of glue. I could have used a glue dot, I suppose, but now I'm just going to kind of wiggle that in right there. And I'll let that just set and trim this end so it's a little bit more even. And there you have it. We are one and done for today for our Lifetime of Love and our rainbow sherbet inspiration. Jen says, twine is rarely a no for me. Yeah, twine, embellishments, Wink of Stella. Yeah, I kind of have a sick obsession with this stuff. Kind of crazy. Okay, moving right along, we're going to make another really, really pretty card for just, you know, to have a pretty card in your stash. This one turned out really pretty. Okay, so we're going to do a summer version of a card that I made earlier for Stampin' Up. The focus of this card was not Lifetime of Love. It was the Comforting Thoughts greeting set. And so we could do anything we wanted with it. So I chose to use this Lifetime of Love. But I want to point out there is a lot happening in this card that might not show in photos or even here. So I'm going to make it in some lighter colors so that you can see the process of how I've created this really, really pretty wreath. All right, so here's what we're going to do first. This is just a scrap. I mean, you can see there's even muck on it and whatnot. It's a scrap of watercolor paper. And so the first thing I'm going to do is paint up and make my own paper. And so I'm going to use a little bit of Petal Pink, and I'm going to use some Peach Pie. And let's see, what other color am I going to use here? Petal Pink. Oh, and I didn't bring Petal Pink out. That was kind of stupid, but I'll do a little Flirty Flamingo. It'll all blend in. So I'm going to squeeze my lids. Okay, squeeze the peach pie, and Pretty in Pink. I'm like, what color is that? I have my water painter here, and I have a little jar of water. I do like to have water, even though the water painters have a water barrel on them, I prefer to add water right here from my, you know, my brush and the jar of water. And I'm just going to paint the whole thing. Okay, getting it nice and wet. And now I'm going to come in and I'm going to get, so I'm just creating my own custom paper here. So I've got a little Flirty Flamingo action happening. Now let's do some Peach Pie and really kind of get these colors to, to kind of wick and bleed into one another. And now a little Pretty in Pink action. It's a little darker. And I'm just going to let that dry. And you're like, why isn't she doing the bottom section? Well, because the bottom section I'm actually going to do in Lemon Lime Twist. give this a squeeze for card number 3. So, but for the meantime, I want these, let me bring my scratch paper in here. I want my colors to kind of blend that way so that they stay away from the lemon lime. But let's do the lemon lime so that we'll kind of be ready for card number 3 when that time comes. So I just want a little, and I'm just going to actually even blot that, move it away, do a little lemon. Oh, maybe not. Okay, here is my chamois. I should probably just cut this. That's what we're gonna do. Hello, we can be smarter than. Okay, we'll get it done eventually, but I'm just not getting quite as much ink action out of this as I want. So I'm just gonna take a block. So now I have a ton of ink on the back of my block, but I'm gonna take a look at this for right now. See how it was all puddling down that direction? I'm gonna send these puddles back the other way, just to kind of blend more color there. All right, now, good. Now we're painting just clear water here and not that funky shade of red. Get some green action going on this. And hopefully I have enough green paper there. It's gonna be tight. All right, well, we're gonna let both of those dry and we'll move on to some other steps for the card, but I just wanted to have some cardstock ready, some painted. You know what, I'm gonna do just a little bit more because I don't need that much of that. I'm gonna do just a little bit more of the green. So I'm just gonna kind of water this down and we'll create a new color green. It's okay. Just smashing that right on there. I just need some, all right? So we'll let those dry for card number 3. They're not fabulous, but for what we're gonna need them for, they're perfect. But I really love how these colors are blending right in here. A look you can't ever replicate the exact same thing. You can kind of do what you did, but it never turns out identical, if you know what I mean. All right, so I'm gonna close up some of these pads for now, except for Pretty in Pink. I'm gonna keep that one. We'll set this aside to dry. We will get to that, I promise. All right, let's clean up some more mess here. Let me put this away for now. Water painter, scratch paper we'll put away. Clean up the surface here. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're making a Pretty in Pink card. I don't think I've done a Pretty in Pink card yet since the return of this color. It's been a while. So it's a half sheet, folks. Nothing fancy here. Deanna says, never done this. Great technique. Oh, watercolor techniques, Deanna, are like one of my favorites just for creating, you know, that custom color palette that you're looking for, kind of just an organic blend of color. It's super easy. So, and we're going to do some more watercolor in card number 3. Okay, so this one, all right, Pretty in Pink. And here is a Pretty in Pink card base. And it just like that first card, it's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I'm going to bring my scratch paper in here. And I have my Pretty in Pink blends. Let's see. That's dark Flirty Flamingo, dark Pretty in Pink. Well, maybe we'll use both of these. And I'm just going to do some splatter knocking here just to get this. And that's not quite showing up. I might have to do it with ink. This one's showing up. This is the dark Flirty Flamingo. And I'm just starting with some splatters, and I know you can't see them, but trust me, they are fine little dots all over the place. And it has just kind of, it just kind of woke things up a little bit. Now I'm not sure which lid goes where. That looks like a good mix. And I'm going to do the same thing with Wink of Stella. Now, I can use my bone folder here to knock on the barrel, just like I did with the Stampin' Blends. Or I can use my lid, right, to do it the way we've done it so many times. You can do the same thing in the lid. Now, if you do your brush tip marker in the lid, eventually you're going to really wear down that tip, and it's going to be no bueno for you. But with Wink of Stella, because these are bristles and not a felt tip, these they can take that and handle it. So now, I don't know if you can see this, but boy, does this thing, holy moly. Oh, there you got a little glimpse of it. This thing shimmers and shines like, you know, and it's the same thing with this one. You can really see the Wink of Stella in here. Oh, there's a good view. So it's something that doesn't come through in photos, but let me tell you, it is so cool. Oh, there's a good look at it. Okay, so get that stuff shimmering and sparkling like no other. All right. So now let's do a little bit of glue action here. I'm just going to add my layer here. And of course, on this last card that we just did, I have a piece of white here to layer inside. And while the stamps are out, I can add an inside, you know, some prettiness to the inside of the card. Man, oh man, it just is plugged. Now my fingers are all sticky. Let's go. Okay. Here we go. The other thing that could be really pretty on this would be to have blended the sides to really punch up the pretty in pink. So blend it pretty in pink on pretty in pink just to elevate the color a little bit more, emphasize it, give it a little bit more strength. Okay, so there is that. And for this card, we're going to use the circular frame, and I have cut this a bunch of times. First, I've cut it in white, okay? And here is my bunch of times. Let's see all the colors that I've cut it in. So I have cut it in pretty in pink, for sure. This is the pretty in pink glimmer paper, super pretty. I did the white, and then this one is petal pink. So I want 4 of these, I'm going to call them wreaths because that's what we're going to use them as. Okay. And let's see, we're going to do this just kind of like we did on that first card. We're going to use the negative for our greeting, and then we'll pop one of these right back into place. I just need to figure out which direction. I think that is the way it goes. So let me kind of take a look at this. I'm going to rotate it just a little bit, and we're going to put our greeting in here, and I'm going to stamp my greeting with pretty in pink, and I'm going to stamp the forever and always, and I've never stamped this image before, so I'm just practicing. And this is a new ink pad that I haven't used too much, and so you could see how blotchy it was. So I'm just kind of, you know, getting a feel for it before I wreck my piece of white here. Okay, so now I think I've got it going pretty good. And we'll just put that greeting, nice, right there in the center. I'm not gonna put away my pad just yet. I'm gonna do just like I did on that other card and use my dimensionals to kind of hold these layers together. Okay, so just come in there, catch that. You know, if you can just kind of catch it in a couple places. Let's get this side as well. Looking good. And I think I'll just put one in the middle. And so that's going to go on our card. But before I put it on my card, I want to do something here. I'm going to put my greeting down, and I'm going to take a pencil, and I'm going to kind of sketch lightly the circle where my greeting's going to go. Well, on my main piece. Okay, so now I have all those crazy pieces, but that tells me where I'm going to do some stamping. And I'm going to stamp with the leaf image again. So let me give it a quick little clean here. Okay, and I'm going to use the Pretty in Pink. And again, I'm going to practice with it off. So you guys, because this is such a brand new pad and it's red rubber, which is, you know, the premium, I am just barely touching my ink pad. And I'm going to just add some leaves here, being sure that the stem of my leaf is going to fall inside of my stamp lines. And this isn't just, this isn't really like, oh, this is part of the, this is just, we're giving it a little bit of background decor here. It'll just have a little bit of, you know, it's just going to peek through here and there, here and there. Okay. And I think that's about all I'm going to do. Now I'm going to let that dry for just a second. Get some other things ready. I think I'm going to close this. I'm done with this for now. Get the scratch paper out of here. That's dry. I am going to come back in and I am going to erase these just in case. Now I'm pretty sure they're not going to show up, but they might. So they're going to go. Now this pencil here, Kayleen gave it to me. She says it's a Vera Bradley pencil. This is the best pencil in the world. Holy cow. It's a mechanical pencil, but the eraser works. Half the time erasers don't erase anything these days that are on pencils. They're terrible. Okay, so there's the beginning. Now let's just start loading this card up. We'll start with a layer here. We're gonna have this ready to, oops, I just put all my dimensionals in my watercolor water. I have another little garbage jar next to it. All right, but I'm gonna start, before I put that one down, I'm gonna put my Pretty in Pink wreath down first. Let me just get rid of this little hanging on piece. And let me see how this one goes, like this. I wanna put this one down and I'm gonna glue it down, but I want it to be in the opposite direction of the one that was there. We're gonna keep kind of rotating these around. Barbara says she loves those pencils, uses them all the time. Yes, yeah, really. I mean, mechanical pencils, I've been, you know, but oh, I like that one. So I'm gluing the leaves that are on the inside because I don't have a whole lot of surface to add some adhesive here. Because I want the ones on the outside to just, you know, be free. Oh man, why did I put this up? What was I thinking? Okay. So this is just going to kind of work around like so. But I like the freedom. See how these are just kind of popping up on their own? I like that. I like it a lot. And now this one's going to go down. Okay. I think I'm going to put one more down. I think we're going to put, let's just kind of see if we've got that one there. And then we bring this one. So pretty, you guys. Oh my goodness. This makes for a real pretty summer wedding card. Right, maybe even a bridal shower. So I'm just gonna tack some of these down just like I did that other one. Okay, and I'm gonna give it a little bit of a twist so that nothing is all at the same spot, if you know what I mean. That was a Pretty in Pink ink pad. Yes, Jolinda. Pretty in Pink on Pretty in Pink, so I've got that tone on tone. And then here's Pretty in Pink on white. And I'll add my wreath right in here like so. So pretty. I'm gonna rock it over just a little bit this way. Once I get it where I think I want it to go. Okay, So that's how we've started. Now we're just going to continue by adding a whole bunch more stuff. Just like I did on my original here. I have leaves, I have flowers, I have tone on tone leaves. So, but let's finish with this, and we'll kind of fill out that, our wreath here. And again, I'm going to flip this over and aim for these inner leaves. Okay. So just question, do any of you have this or a stamp set and dies similar to this Lifetime of Love? Have you played with it? I just really, at first glance I went, oh yeah. And then when I kind of got it and started playing with it, I really could see the beauty of what, is offered in this particular bundle. Okay, so there's my white, looking good. It's feeling a little sparse right there, but not to worry. We're going to zhuzh it up. So I have all kinds of flowers in here, folks. I have petal pink that we can start to add and flush this out. I have definitely pretty in pink. So let me just kind of get some of these going here. This one. And I think on my original, what I did is I was really using quite a few of just, this one's blackberry. And so I was using quite a few blackberry in the background. So just kind of underneath these. And in fact, you can even trim some of this out. I just kind of cut some of that away. I can tuck that in there and start to, well, hello, you got to get in there. Start to kind of flush this out and build it, give it just a little bit more volume. And I'm going to take these inside leaves out because they kind of collide, but just creating a little bit more volume in there. Karen says, hello, Elizabeth. I feel like you are almost done. We'll watch the replay tonight on your break. So you're at work now, I take it. I'm almost done with this card. I have not started card number 3, but I'll get there one of these days. Okay, and so I've got just a little bit of leaf action, some foliage happening, kind of tucked in here. Sorry, my arm is right in the way. That's going to kind of go in there, this one, so that I kind of, change up that the leaves aren't always the exact same leaves all the way around. And I could do that with a little bit, let me move this petal one kind of right in there. I actually feel like that's pretty good. So let me glue those leaves in place, and then we'll work on our flowers and our finishing touches. Finishing touches, can you guess what they are? They are some embellishments. And if we want to do a little bit of linen thread, so just kind of press that, get that to engage. Get this one. So I'm adding these leaves that I've kind of cut the one side off. I'm adding them to where the pretty and pink wreath is not, if that makes sense. I'm kind of flushing out this side that I felt was a little bit more, felt a little skimpier, if you know what I mean. Okay, and I'll flush that side out with flowers and things for sure. Okay, let's glue these in. That is junk. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of tuck that, wiggle that in there in place. Same thing with this one. And so what I'm doing is I'm tucking in, but it's way in there. And so I'm just giving a little bit of a push just so that I know where the glue is, and so that it kind of goes in there and it engages with the paper and it's not just floating, if you know if you get what I'm kind of getting at with what I mean. Okay, so now it's time to just add, if you look at this, I just added a bunch of flowers. I have 1, 2, 3. So on these painted ones, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, there's probably 20 flowers on here, believe it or not. So will I add all 20 flowers right now? Probably not. But I want to go to my paper here and get my flower. So there's the flower die. And so I'm just going to lay this in here, and I'm going to cut myself some of the painted flowers, but I also have a bunch of the solid flowers. I even have a few of the what are these? Glimmer paper. All I could think of was Calypso, and I'm like, Calypso is not the right word, but I have some of the glimmer flowers here, which could add some fun. But this is where it's going to really kind of even add just a little bit more organic beauty to the card here. I mean, I like the pinks and whatnot, but let's just add a little bit of our hand-painted paper by way of the flowers, and it will be really cool. Everything is in my way. Okay, how long have I used a Big Shot or a Stampin' Cut machine? I'm like, it's not working. I was turning the wrong direction. She's losing her mind. Okay, so look how pretty these are. They're subtle. Look at that one. You know, a little bit of that peach, a little bit of that, you know. So we'll just start to kind of play with these and add them here and there to flush it out. Let me do one more set of these because I think they're really pretty. Okay. All right. There's that. Oh, there's one more holding on. Okay. And another look at that flower die. See how you've got different shapes? It's kind of fun. Okay, so let's just add our flowers in. And we'll just have some fun. So again, I think I'm going to put a bunch of these in my hand all at one time. Or a good portion of them. And I'll curl them in my hand. Rather than doing one at a time, we'll just kind of mass produce these, right? Great. You know, giving it that little curl makes it easier to kind of get into the nooks and crannies too, to glue them. Here and there. Okay. So I'm just going to start adding little blobs of glue here and there. And I'll start just adding some florals to my wreath here. Okay, and maybe even some like right in there. I'm going to tuck some underneath as well. Kind of come in there. Come on, get on the glue. It's not on the glue. Now it is. Have fun at work, Deanna. Oh, you're back to night shifts. Ooh, that's got to be fun. Okay. So, just on some of these places that might not, like right through here, feels a little sparse. So that's going to be where I just add a little bit of some of these flowers. We'll pick a couple of the different colors here. Of course, I'm grabbing the ones that I haven't curled yet. Just kind of eke that in there. Okay, again, just getting it to attach to the glue. Okay, so are we using these? Do we need some of this, some more of this glittery stuff, or should we keep it all just painted and cardstock? We'll see. Okay, get a little balance of it over here. I kind of like them. Maybe tuck that one back in there. Kind of the same principle as gems. We'll do 2 and 1 far away. Okay, I'm going to tuck a few underneath. There. Stick. Get one here. This one I'm going to put on here and then kind of lift and tuck it in there so I don't scrape glue across things. Okay, it's coming along. I'm going to add several more, and then I'm going to put some, we'll put some fun embellishments. Is that one glued? This one needs a buddy right here. Okay. You know, just kind of looking at it, I feel like I could use a few right up in here. Up in here. Up in here. Okay. Hope that glue dries clear. Because that was a big blob of glue. Let's see. I'm going to do one more. And then I feel like I need to squint test. And squint test at work when I would decorate a bazillion different Christmas trees. When we would light a fresh tree, we would squint at it to figure out where the missing lights were and where we needed to do a little bit more work. And so the same thing, it's like I've got flowers going around. I feel like I need to squint at it just a little bit so I can feel where it might need just a little bit more floral action. And I feel like it could be kind of right down in there. Yep, that's where I want it. So just kind of tuck that right there. Cool. Whoa. It jumped ship. Okay, so there you have it, folks. I am going to, let's see, I think I do want just a little bit more. Yep, it's saying, put me there. It wants to be a part of the card rather than going into the trash can. Okay. All right, so while those set up, let me grab a few, whoa, that could be bad. Just cleaning my surface here. I'm gonna grab some linen thread. So I have a little linen thread action here, and we'll just tie a bow. And I think I'll kind of tuck it just like that one. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of a dark, it's linen thread that I colored with a Blackberry Bliss blend. So it's just a little linen thread action. And tuck it right down in here with the leaves. Okay. And I'm going to need to glue that. So let me just, I'm going to wiggle this up and just tack a little glue in there. And then I'll set that knot of my linen thread right in that little puddle of glue. Maybe. It's not exactly where I want it. There we go. And I'm going to add one more flower in that area. Let's see. I'm going to try adding a glimmer one just to kind of soften the mechanics right where that linen thread is. Now, should it be that, or let's see, should it be pink? Or should it be both? I think it's going to be both, because this is kind of the focal of the wreath is down here on this bottom right corner with the bow and then my heavier leaves there. So let's just do it up big. I'd say go big or go home, but I am home. Okay. And let me train my linen thread just a little bit, the direction I want it to go. So this one, I don't know if you can see, the linen thread is just kind of a nice, dark, pretty color. But there's that. I'm going to go ahead, and this layer does not have Stella splatters, but now it does. And I'm going to bring in my gems again that we used, only this time I'm going to use the Pretty in Pink, because that's my key color, and hit up. Do I need to do all of the flowers? No, but I'll do a bunch. Shoot, where'd that go? Oh, it flipped upside down. Like, I can't find the gem. Okay, there's that. And we'll definitely get some of these. My fingers are so sticky. I'm having a hard time. Why not a glue dot for the thread? I have some here, but sometimes they're just annoying to me. And I'm like, I don't feel like getting a glue dot out. But I'm going to put a pretty big one. This is the larger, because it's hiding underneath, a larger rhinestone or gem or whatever this is. Let me do another big one. Let's do a big one right here. Okay. And like I say, we don't have to put a gem on every one of them, but like this one kind of needs it. It's kind of in a forward key spot. And we can try a gem on the glimmer, but sometimes it's tricky to get things to stay on glimmer paper. We'll see how this is doing. Ah, that's pretty good. It's pretty solid. Okay, folks, I think that's going to do it. And we've gone from a more wintry palette to our kind of our rainbow sherbet inspired color palette. And I think this one, I'm going to call it done. Oh gosh, this is really pretty. I like it in these colors. You know, you can kind of see some of that action happening. So we have a little splattering, some stamping, and then lots of layering of just this one die over and over. And it's just kind of fun. So hopefully you like that one. All right. Last, we're going to do a pretty fancy background here. And I'm going to start with a piece of watercolor paper. So this is watercolor paper. And I'm going to use the Drizzling Droplets background stamp. And I'm going to stamp this in white, and then I'm going to emboss it in white. It's going to take a little bit because this is a big image, and my heat gun's not hot. I mean, it'll get hot pretty quick, but you know the drill. Okay, so let's see. I need and I'm going to bring out this for right now, just so I'm not getting embossing buddy on my glass mat. And I am just getting that whole thing covered in embossing buddy, which is, it's rosin in a pouch form. And I'm going to ink up my background stamp with, this is an old white ink pad. We have the newer ones. I have the newer one too. This is my fave. I like this one. Okay, so I'm just really inking this up the best I can. I want it good and juicy. And I'm going to pull a print. So rather than turning this over, I'm just going to turn. So this is the embossed buddied side. Embossed buddied. New words. And I'm going to take my scratch paper, put it on top, and just give this a good impression. So you could use your fist like this, You could come in and use your brayer and pull a print. Just trying to make sure I'm getting the whole thing. It's not too bad. There's not too much extra stamp showing. Let's get down in here. Get those droplets. Okay. Oh, looks great. I know you can kind of barely see it, but now I'm going to dunk this in my white embossing powder. It lives in a Gladware container, and the embossing buddy just lives on top. And give it a stir so that some of those bigger chunks get out of the way. You like my handy dandy tool? Some people use a fancy spoon or, nah, piece of paper works just fine, right? So we're just going to cover this whole thing in white embossing powder. And I'm checking. I can see I've got like a little furry thing here. That's obviously in my embossing powder. Go away. And here's another one. So I'm just kind of checking to see where I've got some weirdness, and I've got weirdness right there. It's like it's a fur ball or something. And so if I muck up the embossing powder right there, there's no worries, because I can go in and just give it a new quick coat. Yeah, there's something weird right here. Okay, hopefully that spot will get covered up. All right, so that's ready. Now I'm going to get my heat tool here, and I usually like a plate or something so that it... Can you heat emboss on top of your glass mat without it cracking? I don't know. I think so. Let's put some paper down just to be sure. There's kind of a stack of them here. Like I say, this is going to take a little bit. I do have my heat tool at full blast. I probably should have had this done ahead of time. Have you taken a closer look at this Drizzling Droplets background stamp? It's really, it's quite pretty. Okay, I think we're about a third of the way on melting all of this embossing powder. Yeah, so I've done a couple techniques with this, Jen. She's talking about, she bought the Drizzling Droplets and has yet to use it. Hopefully she's going to get it out. This is just a good one. We're going to do some emboss resist using the smooshing technique. Okay, I'm just making sure the whole thing is good and melted. All right, I think it's melted all the way through, but I am going to let it cool off because it's a little tacky to the touch right now. But yeah. So, at our Zoom session last month, Jen Mallett, she said, she goes, well, have you ever smooshed right on your glass mat? And so I did smoosh and watercolor during my Upstyle Your Paper Pumpkin, but that was just a tiny little butterfly. We're going to do it now on a much larger scale. So let me just get any embossing powder on here, an embossing buddy, out of the way. And I'm going to take my colors, which are going to be Pretty in Pink, you know, we've been in this palette now. We're just going to stay there. And I am going to smash my peach pie right on the block, not on the block, on the mat. Here goes Pretty in Pink right on the mat. And we will do Flirty Flamingo kind of down in here. All right, now for the fun, I have a water spritzer. So it's a mini mister. It is filled with water, just water. And I'm going to spritz this with a lot of water. Okay, I want these inks to move. I want them to blend around, okay? And once I get that going, okay, I might even tip it to get them to blend. So I am tipping my entire glass mat here. Just to get these right in through here. Once I think I've got a look that I like, I'm gonna set my piece right on top. Okay, smoosh it right into the ink. Yeah, it's a little messy, but who cares? It's half the fun, right? So if you don't have a glass mat, you can easily do this technique. What you're going to do is use a page protector, and that will work just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit more. And I'll get just a little bit more of this ink down in here. Okay, I'm just kind of trying to pick up and get as much water as I can. And we can just kind of move things around on this paper as well with the spritzer. And once our embossing powder, not embossing powder, but once our watercolor, our paper is dry, what will happen is we'll get an emboss resist from all of those white dots. So I'm going to let this dry just a little bit. Let me bring that. Here's another piece of paper. And let me blot this one up first. I will clean my mat in just a second here, not to fear. You're like, you're dripping everywhere. You are making a complete mess. Look how pretty, you guys. That's a pretty piece of paper. So pretty, yeah. So I mean, you know, your drop, the what's left over is pretty too. So you can get a couple different, you know, you can do your watercolor paper, plus you could do some more paper with just that one squirt. You could even add a little bit more ink. Okay, so I'm just cleaning this up with this is the chamois that came with my glass mat. Now, for those of you who don't have the glass mat, I'm hearing that it may be available come fall. Okay, so now let's see. Let's go back to having a little bit of, I'm going to do a little paper barrier here. And I'm going to dry this just a little bit with my heat tool. Now, one thing I could have done to help, see how it's really curling? I could have gotten the back of the paper wet, and that really helps when you're watercoloring. And I'm kind of speeding the process up here with my heat tool, but I like it when it's dries on its own, because you get you get some really cool blending effects and some harsher, deeper lines in your paper. Just gonna flip this over. And so it's not, well, it is pretty dry. It is pretty dry. But you can see that, you know, those drizzling droplets just came right through once we kind of, you know, wiped that down. Now, I'm going to let this dry for just a couple more seconds while I work on a few things for this card. So let me just set this aside. I have some other pieces going here. Let's see, what do we have for this card? I've got peach pie for my card base. I'm putting the lid on my embossing powder before I accidentally tip it and make a mess. So my card base for this is peach pie. And easy peasy, half a sheet of cardstock. So that's very easy. I have a piece of Flirty Flamingo here. And my Flirty Flamingo is going to be a layer for this piece here. Now, I highly recommend, this one's actually pretty flat, but you can see there is some warping to it. So in order to get this warping, so it doesn't affect your card, I highly recommend adding this layer to another layer of cardstock, and that will help to hold it in place. Yes, I think that would be super pretty, Jen. Some snow scene action with this. That's a great idea for that. Okay, so yes, I'm going to trim this down and layer it on the flamingo. I have a layer for the inside of my card. I have yet to do an inside of my card for this class, but you guys know how to do that, right? This is just for stamping. And I have a couple rectangles here for kind of layering and creating my, adding, this is the anchor piece for my, focal elements. You guys, I need a drink. Sorry, hold on. Sorry about that. I was just getting a mega frog in the throat. Okay, so where do these two rectangles come from? They actually come from the exact same die set called Everyday Details. Everyday Details has a sheet of rectangles and a sheet of circles. All right, so you've seen me use these before. These are fun. This is really cool. I'm not using it in this class, but I have used this and love it. Okay, these are called the Everyday Details dies. And that's where I cut those two rectangles. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to use this one, but I am going to use this one, like I say, as the anchor or the vase to my floral elements. Speaking of floral elements, we need to make a few. All right, so with this piece, I am going to stamp this, arched rose piece. And I think I'm going to go back to the, no, I'm going to do them in Flirty Flamingo. I was going to do them in Melon Mambo, but I don't think the way this piece of paper turned out, I'm going to do it a little different. So let's see here. I think it needs a quick clean. And here it goes, Flirty Flamingo. I may need to juice this ink pad. And I want a couple of these. Okay. And I'm going to color these with blends. I'm not going to do, a huge amount of crazy blending on this, but it looks like I'm going to use some peach pie and some lemon lime twist and maybe some Flirty Flamingo. Are these my Flirty Flamingos? Nope, I got one of each. Nope. There they are. Okay. So I'm not going to use any the petal in pink, the pretty in pink, because I'm really not getting a ton of the pretty in pink, but that's okay. So let's do leaves first. They're the easiest. And I'm just going to swoosh some color in these leaves with my blends. This is light lemon lime twist. And then I'm going to come back in with dark lemon lime twist and just kind of tap in some ink just to, make this a little bit more dimensional, a little bit more interesting rather than just a flat color. Here goes more light. Just moving back to that other color while I switch and color these. And I'm doing like 3 at a time so that they're still kind of wet and I can come in and these will start to blend. Okay, that's all I'm going to do on my leaves. Right now they're looking pretty strong and out of character. They're out of balance with my flowers, but we'll fix that. I'm going to come in with light peach pie And just getting a layer of color in here. Nothing too fancy. And then I'll do the same thing that I did with the leaves and come in and detail with a little bit more of the dark peach pie. Okay. Really kind of hitting some of these areas. And if I've left some areas a little bit white, I'm good with that. And I'll even do just a little bit of Flirty Flamingo in here. I'm sorry. Yeah, Flirty Flamingo. I'm going to use this tip. And I'm just kind of drawing it around here and there. There's just something about bringing in a different color than just the white, the light and the dark of a color. It just kind of creates just a little bit more interest of depth. Okay, so there's one set of roses. Let's do a real fast color on this. This is called Do It Fast. Get the project done. Oh, not too bad. We've got 14 minutes to get it done. We're in good shape. Okay, that was light peach pie, I think. Oh, that was dark peach pie. Okay, that was dark peach pie. Not to worry. We're going to switch to flamingo then. This is light flamingo. I'm just kind of blending in some color so it has a little bit of, differentiation. Now I'm going to take that dark. Usually I stamp these images with a slightly darker color, but that's okay. We'll get the idea. I may have to redo those just to really get the lines of the roses in there. Okay, but let's die cut these quickly. And we know we have a die for that. It's right here. I have to do it twice, but that's okay. Okay, here's one. And I'll run that through. I'm actually going to trim this down so one, it will fit in the machine. And for two, it doesn't scar my paper and I have this paper to use on other things without having, plate, little scars, from your plate on your white paper. If you know what I mean. Okay, so here goes the first one. Okay, we'll set that there. Look how pretty that's going to be. Yep. I think I needed to have maybe stamped. We stamped in Flirty Flamingo. I think maybe my favorite color, Calypso Coral, would have given our roses just a little bit more definition. And so I think before I get these photoed up to post on the group page there, I will probably restamp in just a slightly stronger color. There is that. I have a little bit more die cutting that I want to do for this card. And that is, if you remember the green that we made earlier, I'm going to stamp some leaves. So I want this. Let's see, so you guys can see. I think I can get 3 out of that. If I move this over more. Get right to that edge. I do have another green piece if I need it. Okay, so see, I like to have these pieces die cut ahead of time, but sometimes, it's fun to see how I came about the colors. Because I could have used like lemon lime twist cardstock, but that would have been really, really like pungent in that. And so this is just a fun way to get that lemon lime cardstock color but a definitely more washed out version of it. And I want one more of these. There's that. So bear with me. Let's die cut one more, and I promise the rest of the stuff is already die cut ahead of time. Okay. All right. Okay. And we'll pop that out. Maybe we'll pop it out. There it goes. Okay, so let me take that out of the way. Get that out of the way. And let's bring our pieces in here. So we need a greeting, and I'm going to use just the simple, this is Love You. This is from the stamp set itself. There is another greeting in there. What did I do with the case? Here it is. There is this congratulations on your wedding day. That is in there as well. But I'm going to do just the Love You. And we'll use Flirty Flamingo. And hopefully I can stamp this straight. And I'm going to put that right in the center. Perfect. Okay, got a smudge on it. It wouldn't be hand stamped without a thumbprint, right? Okay, let's see here. Do I have anything? Nope, I don't have an adhesive remover. But yeah, that's got a little schmutz on it. But what else is new? Like I say, it's hand stamped. Okay, so we've got some elements here that we're going to be using. But before, I need to go back and address this piece here, and we need to get it ready to mount onto our Flirty Flamingo. So I'm going to trim that down, and I'm going to trim this down. The nice thing about trimming, making it bigger and trimming it down is, yeah, you've got a little bit coming over on the edge, or you can see that, my background stamp, I'm going to trim it off. So I always start a little larger and then trim some off. So let's start here. I want my piece to be, let's see, I made myself a note. It's going to be 3 5/8 inches wide by 4 7/8 inches tall. So I'm going to start with this top side, and I want it so that my droplets are going off of the page. Okay, so now I have a nice clean edge there. Plus it's a white or, off-white edge, okay? And let's just see, I'm just gonna take some off of here as well. And this is where I'm gonna start sizing things up. So I have 2 clean edges. Now my height is gonna be 4 7/8. So take that one off, and my width is going to be 3 5/8. And that will fit onto my Flirty Flamingo that I have going on. So now you can see, I do like that I'm seeing that clean edge on the side, okay? And I'm gonna glue this to my Flirty Flamingo, and I'm gonna glue a little different than I normally would. I would normally just kind of go yada yada, and that would be good. But when you've watercolored something, you need to get to the edge. That's going to help with your warping, what little bit you have, and you actually need to fill everything in. That's my tip on how I kind of get my watercolored pieces to lay flat. Did I make this the wrong? I did. I made it the wrong size. I didn't make it the right length, but that's okay. I can just trim some off. I'm going to come in here and just burnish the whole thing. And sometimes, I've got to work it with my fingers just to really try to get it to lay flat. If I have time and I'm patient, I actually will put it in between a couple of books and really let it set up that way. But now, that way my piece of watercolored paper is nice and crisp and flat, and I don't have swoops and bubbles and things like that. Okay, so it looks like I need to just take this off. My Flirty Flamingo piece is actually the one that's off. This one needed to be 5 1/8. There we go, looking good, it's perfect. And now this will layer onto my paper. Look at that rainbow sherbet. Anybody else gonna go get some sherbet today? You know what's really good sherbet? Pineapple. And it's good in a glass of cold 7-Up. Okay, so see, that's how I would normally add glue. So this is going to layer here, just like so. Okay, so my pink is just barely coming through, but it's there, folks. It's pretty pretty. And you know, you just don't know what you're gonna get. Every time you do it, you'll get something just a little bit different. Okay, so now I'm gonna put this layer on with dimensionals, and this is just kind of a layer that is going to help bring all of my floral and leaf elements together. Okay, and so I'm just going to set this one over here. Where do I want it to go? I'm gonna kind of come here like that. Okay, and I'm gonna have a rose spray over that top corner and over this bottom corner. And then, you know, I can tuck that there, or I can come back on it a little bit, make it center, or I can go this way on it. I think I'm gonna go that way on it. And I can go higher, or I can go, I think I'm gonna split that difference right down the middle. But, you know, do I want to, yeah, I'll put it on dimensionals. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm doing less dimensionals than I used to. But if these are going to be on dimensionals, that can be on dimensionals. And it looks like I'm coming to the end of this sheet. Do a quick chop here. Use them up. Okay, let's get these pieces on, and then we'll finish up with some of our leaves and things. Okay, so let's see. Let me do this top and the greeting kind of at the same time. So this top one, I want a little bit of this corner to show, like that. And then we'll tuck this in there. Oh, look, my smudge went away. Woohoo! There's always a way, right, to fix it. And then this one's gonna come up right in there. Okay. Now, I think I'm gonna, yeah, no, that's good. And so I have my leaves that are gonna tuck in here, but I also have, if you remember from the very, very first card that I did, I needed the white in here. I want to use this stuff, you know, this pretty die cut right here. So I'm going to snip the leaf apart. So I'm taking the frame right off. Okay, so just remove the frame. And now you have, look at that pretty die cut that you have. There's a sample in the catalog, the January to April catalog, where they color this image, and it's super, super pretty. But you know, you can do whatever you like. So I think what I'm gonna do is kind of come in here and clip this apart. And you have some pretty roses here. Let me just lift my dimensional a little bit. Maybe we'll lift it. Holy moly, is it stuck? Okay, and that's just gonna kind of tuck in here. And we'll do the same thing with this one. It's going to, I should maybe have done these before. Just watch my mechanics that I'm not showing. Okay, so you can see where that white is. And now we'll add our, I'm gonna add these with minis just to give them some lift so that they don't sit flat to the page here. And so we'll tuck this one kind of right in there. I love the addition of this lemon lime twist in this one, in this card. It's pretty, pretty. And I'm going to do one kind of hanging down here. Oh, super pretty. Super pretty. Now I have a third one, and that could come up in here, or I think I'm going to have it come from down here. Okay. Colliding dimensionals. That's kind of today's theme. Oh, but look, how's that? Super pretty. Now I'm going to finish this with, I have some peach flowers here that I think would be best. And so I'm just going to add a few of these, not a bunch. I'm going to add, I think I'm going to add like 4 or 5. Okay, so same drill. I am going to give them a little bit of a curl. Just, they're easier to glue and they don't end up so, you know, without having to add a dimensional, it gives them dimension. So it's faux dimensionals. Okay, just that little. Okay. There's that little glue action happening. And so I think I want a nice full one right about here. And another one right in here. Maybe we'll tuck this one under a little bit. Yep, that's good. And I'm gonna just right in there, we'll hide a little. It's kind of peeking through from behind. And let's do another one right there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I have one more. I think we'll do it right there. This would be a nice feminine graduation card. I know it doesn't say congratulations, but you know, close family member, a good friend. Okay, so that is the paper portion. Now let's just finish it up in shimmer style. It's just got to have some love. Some Stella shimmer, right? Let's do these. Really pop those. And then I'll give those some embellishments because we have them out. So why not, right? Okay, so I think we're going to do the peach ones again. And I'm going to do each, because there's only 5 of them here, I'm going to do them all. I'm not sure if all of them are going to show, but we'll do a big one there. And I'm going to do another big one here. Tuck that under. And while I'm there, I'm just going to give this leaf, it's a flower. I just kind of curled it a little bit with the tip of my hobby blade here. And that one's right in there. Oh, that kind of looks like bug eyes. That's better. And I think I can get one in there. It might not totally show, but there it is. And there you have it, folks. Our beautiful background and inspiration for this is a former, so here's that winter color palette with the drizzling droplets. But let's see, we've got our pretty, you know, smoosh card with our smoosh technique. And then we did our really pretty wreath. And then at the very beginning, we started out with just some crazy color and being inspired by the Unbounded Beauty paper. So folks, there is today's class. I hope you learned something a little bit different, or maybe saw this style of set of dies and stamps in a different light. Take a look at Encircled in Nature, is that what it's called? Encircled in Nature? It's online exclusive. There's some really cool looks there. I'm so glad you were here. Don't forget, I only have 2 more class kits left, and tomorrow is the last day to sign up for Frames and Flowers. I will catch you next week right here, same time, for that Frames and Flowers stamp class. See you then, folks. Bye-bye.